So, recording started. Welcome back to your weekly fractional episode sponsored by Collectable. And guys, if the internet had something to say about it, LeBron basically has already passed Kareem's all-time scoring record. But he still has to play for 2 more years. And what we really have on October 18th is a treat. This is one of the coolest IPOs, in my opinion. And I'm a huge Kobe guy, but this IPO I think is awesome. So this is Kareem's inscribed. Let me make sure I get this right. It's the 38,387th point ball signed and inscribed by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when he passed the all-time scoring record. Market cap 375,000. Cage. What a treat this is. No, like game used, signed and inscribed 38,387 points in his career ball. What do you make of this? Would you invest in something like this?
I mean, listen, I could say yes, but remember, I'm in my 40s, and the first question I would have is Kareem relevant, right? I mean, you're in your 30s. Is Kareem somebody who's relevant to you? Like, you didn't even really get to watch him play. You probably didn't know he was in a Bruce Lee movie. Probably didn't know that he was in the cockpit in the movie Airplane. You know, I'm sure you didn't know any of that stuff, and I'm sure you don't care because you're like, why is Cage got to go to talk about movies all the time? But
I only invest in Shaq because he was in Kazam. That's the only reason he has value. Has nothing to do. He was, 10-time All-Star, played
Blue
under
Chips.
Wood at UCLA.
Blue Chips,
UCLA.
much better movie. Blue Chips is a much better movie he was in. Blue Chips. That was a much better movie. It was good. Neon Bateau. He was good in that. He was very good. But no,
is that what you think of millennials? Is the only way that they could respect greatness is by watching them in parody movies?
No, I bring up the Kareem movies. It has nothing to do with millennials. It's just that he's before your time. LeBron is in a movie too, but I don't bring him up. It's just you've seen LeBron play. You know what LeBron has done on the court. Unless you're somebody that has gone back and looked at what Kareem did, it would be the same as you asking me what I thought of George Mikan. I mean, I know of his historical significance, but I was not. I know I'm old, but I was not alive while he was playing. I mean, I saw Kareem play. Sure, it was towards the tail end of his career, but I did see him play, and I knew who he was, and I knew, what he had done. I was not alive when he was in college. I wasn't alive when he was a rookie in the late '60s, but I was alive for a lot of his career, and he was one of those, top players. Hand the ball, hand the torch over to Magic, Bird, Michael Jordan, that kind of stuff. But I don't know whether or not collectors today care. And that was why I was asking you, do you care about Kareem?
It's interesting, right? Like, I don't care about it because people have already priced in that LeBron's going to beat him. So there's going to be a better memorabilia than this one in 2 years. And I think the market knows that. But at the same time, I don't think it matters if you know Kareem, if you understand the historical significance of breaking any record.
Yeah, but I mean, so does that mean like you don't think that the Roger Maris 61 home run ball is a relevant ball, or Mark McGuire's 70th
not if
Ohtani
was at 59 with 10
no, but they're already
left.
broken. But they're already broken. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Barry Bonds already broke the record. So they're still significant balls because they were record breaking at the time. And I really hate you for this because you get me on here at night. I'm having a decent football day, and you got me talking about balls again. I mean, it happens all the time. So
my apologies. I don't know how I could have possibly done that. I mean,
so no, but in all honesty, I think what you're trying to say is, that this is a great ball and it was a record ball, but isn't it odd that it becomes available for people to invest in right as everyone's talking about how it's now a record that's going to fall?
That's what I'm curious. But let's get into the show. So this week, all indices were down, Cage. I don't know if anything stuck out to you. We'll get into that in just a second, but just really quick data. Just about across the board, memorabilia, sports cards, and just the collectible index as a whole took a big kind of correction, so to speak. Memorabilia down 15%, sports cards 5%, and collectively around 7%. Cage, the one thing that we've always said, and maybe this is boring, but it works, wax is the best investment if you're looking for long-term upside without the volatility and the swings. Yep. That's one thing that stuck out to me, that and the IPO of the Kareem record-breaking game used inscribed ball. I want to pass the torch. I'll pass the ball to you, the inscribed ball. Popcorn, anything that caught your eye, in a down week. Are you looking for a rebound in a down week?
Yeah. So a couple things, right? I mean, what I like, you hit the nail on the head. We've talked about, certain items that they're going to be performance based. We talk about like Josh Allen. We talk about, Mahomes. He doesn't look like himself, so his cards are down a little bit. And look, as we record this, the Sunday night game hasn't been played yet with both of those guys playing against each other, and people might have been hesitant to put their money in Mahomes this past week. Both, his cards, his big ones were down. The Immaculate 101 was down 5%. The Flawless RPA was down 2.5%. Maybe people were looking ahead to this game, and maybe if Josh Allen beats him, which I actually think he might, maybe if Josh Allen beats him, you have a situation where the Chiefs are 2-3, looking up at a lot of teams in the AFC, and people don't want to have their money in that. But here was my biggest takeaway. Some of the stuff you mentioned was great. My biggest takeaway is this. In addition to performance on field, there's another performance indicator that makes fractional fun. It's performance in auction houses, right? So what I would tell everybody to pay attention to is what happens in auctions and then what happens to the same or very similar cards that are in fractional, right? And you'll notice, so there's a couple of things on Collectable that were in recent golden auctions, the ones that ended last week. It's another golden auction ending in 2 weeks, and we'll pay attention to that as well. But the two of them that were, the most relevant, I think, were the Contenders hobby box, which was up this week. That's the 2000 Contenders hobby box, which obviously is the box that could potentially have the Brady Contenders auto in it. So it's a cool sealed box. That was up 2% this week. But even with that up, it was up to a market cap of 41,850 versus the golden result of 46,800. So, that's close. Obviously, it came up a little bit after the golden result, but that's still 10, 12% off of what the most recent comp was, which there's some alpha there, right? That's something you could see trade up this week to kind of match up or get closer to what that golden auction is. Another one, the 2000 Contenders Brady BGS 9 basket was actually flat this week, down about 0.5%. That's got two of these BGS 9s in. Golden had one end at 111,930, so 111,930. So a basket of two would be about 223. The basket on Collectable has them at 102.7 each, or 205.2 basically, 205.2ish, 205.4ish basically is where the market cap is for the basket, which means again that there's an alpha there. There's approximately 10% that the fractional is lower than what these auction prices went for. Am I saying that those are going to trade up that 10% just to be exactly there? No. But it's something I'd be a little more confident putting my money in, knowing that there were recent comps that are higher than what the fractional is trading at. So those are the kind of things that I try to look at. Another one was the 2003-2004 Exquisite Hobby Box. That's one cool. Really moved. That one really moved because the golden auction result was 91,000, and the collectible results this past week. The trading is up like 25% because it was trading so much lower than what it sold for golden, the 91,000. Now it's up to 87,000. So it's still 5% or so below what golden ended at, but that shows you what happens when you see those results. So some of those are still 10% lower. I guess the idea is, especially when golden, because there's a lot of eyes on golden when those auctions end, keep an eye on what there is in Golden's auction that there's also the same or similar in fractional. We'll try to bring those to you, as auctions end. This weekend there were a couple of auctions ended. I think Iconic ended and Memory Lane ended, but nothing was in there that is sort of the same as what we have here. But that was kind of the stuff that I noticed. Another thing, I am not a soccer expert, but one thing I want to talk about is soccer. So I'm gonna lean on you for this because it's a little more than what we normally do. As far as analysis wise, I usually like to just go in the numbers, and you can pull this one up for me if you like. But can you tell me what recently happened to Mr. Messi, the very short, very good soccer player? Right, there was a recent change, right?
I love you. I love you just the way you are. The very short soccer player. The very short one. He went to PSG. He went to France to play for Pochettino in Paris Saint-Germain.
And what's happened to his game since he's gone over there? Leading question.
I mean, I don't think you should judge a.
Have the headlines been Messi has shot the lights out and scored 5 goals per game with his new team?
There's a little bit of growing pains getting used to the new system.
Right. So there are some growing pains. He's getting used to a new system. Ronaldo at the same time is making plays like you wouldn't believe, and playing pretty well. I'm not saying Ronaldo's the best, and it's a whole deal. But I'd like for you, if you can, to pull up the Messi rookie card basket for me, if you can do that as part of our fun, right? So that Messi rookie card basket was trading last week at $7.25 and closed this past week at $6, down 20% week over week. And if you pull up the chart, you'll see that 1 week chart down $7.25 down to $6. This is just share price. We can talk about the market cap and the whole deal. 1 month, it's down from $7.95 to $6, and all time down from $10 to $6. It's down significantly. It's down, basically since it opened up. Part of that is repricing, but when you see it down 20%, this is something that's been trading for a while after the IPO. It's not something that just came off into the secondary this week. You see it kind of has fallen off. People have moved their money out of Mr. Messi here. It's a cool basket. Initial offering on this one was a market cap of $92,000. It has 2 cards in it. It's got the 0405 Panini sticker, graded BGS 95, and the 0405 Panini Collectione. You see that? La Liga stickers that only pop 34 with only 4 cards graded higher than that one.
This is a gorgeous card.
They just don't really get offered that often. You know what I mean? Those cards, they just don't. Neither one of them is something you see come up, that often at all.
I do think if you see baskets like this, they're always going to trade at a discount, or they should trade at a discount to what these 2 cards sell individually. Just because, like, if I'm a buyer of this card, I probably was going to sell this one off. Or if I want this card, I'm probably buying this basket to sell this one off. So
that mega cracks, right? There's only been 249 or so submitted. There's 46 of them in PSA 10. So this one here, I look at this and I say, okay, what's going on? I don't really look at soccer that often. I don't really go crazy for soccer, but Messi is Messi. That particular card right there is an amazing card. You see comps on it that are it sells pretty well. And this is now. If it were just, okay, it's gone from $10 a share to $7.25, all right, maybe it wasn't priced right. But nothing's happened in the last week with Messi other than he was traded to another team, and it hasn't been like a crazy success right off the bat. And you bring in playing soccer, you bring in a little bit of knowledge to be able to tell folks, all right, it takes a little while to gel, right? And when he gels, when this team starts to play the way that they can, and he starts scoring goals and starts having some success, I have a feeling that you'll see that chart start to swoop right back up. So this was just one that caught my eye. I'm not a huge soccer collector, but this one's it's very down. It's one of those things. It's not a liquid card. There's both of these cards in here have double digit pops, and it's important
to remember such a thing. So when a card is down at this much, like here it says 66%. What happens is it becomes attracted to a buyout, right, Cage? So
that's what I try to look for.
I'm on the other end. I'm going shopping for Messi cards, and Collectable Fractional is now a place where you can buy, right? You can buy out investors. So this might be an opportunity for you to come in and just make some little arbitrage on the buyout opportunity, because the buyer needs to come in and offer a premium. You get in on Monday. There might be a buyout in the next month. You make your profit 30, 60 days out. So something to look out for. This card is very down, and there really isn't any reason. Messi is, objectively speaking, he's one of the top 3 players of all time. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just different because Tom Brady right now is still cementing his legacy. Right now, there's not a lot of certainty in Messi's future that he might, win another championship or win another Champions League or be goal scorer of the year or Golden Balloon or anything with the World Cup. But it's coming. He has one more World Cup in him. So it's actually coming next year. So something to think about is loading up on Messi cards before next year's World Cup. Popcorn, are you passing the ball to me?
If you like, I have 3. This week for me was 3. You got it. Pass it to you. Let's see what you got.
Yes. Awesome. Let's go. Let's talk about your favorite, Mr. Jayson Tatum. So
Ian asked me about Tatum today. He asked me whether or not he was good.
He's a little bit of the forgotten man, He hasn't been invested much this summer. No one's really talking about him. Zion, Trey, Luka, and somehow Tatum's left out. But he's probably the best player from that 2017 class. And now let's talk about his most desirable card, Cage. Mm-hmm. So if you go down here, right, this card features a bold autograph graded 10 and a visual appealing 2-color green and white patch. Look at this card. So other than Tatum's logo man, 1 of 1, this is as good as it gets. Beautiful patch, beautiful auto, beautiful picture, 10, 10. And you're able to get this card. It basically hasn't had any movement ever. It's up 1%, 1.1%. It IPO'd clearly way too high, sold off to 650. This was a good opportunity to buy. But you're still getting it at an interesting price. You're basically getting it at IPO price heading into the season, as opposed to getting it at IPO price and having to hold. So you have all the same upside without the same 6 months of waiting, which is a big deal in my opinion. So you have all upside here with this card, obviously. But 46K this year could.
I mean, listen, that to me, that sounds pretty good. I mean, 46.5 is a good one. You're kind of going in and out a little bit. I like Tatum. The only thing that makes me a little nervous about the Tatum card there that you have is that, you know, at 6 and change, clearly a buy. It's sort of run back up. It's sort of gone up, you know, maybe 30, 40%, you know, since that when it bottomed out, it's back up to that IPO. I like the thought process behind it of getting in now, you know, in the lead up to the season. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a great card. And also, out of 5, you know what I mean? It's not the 1 of 1, but think of how much that 1 of 1 would sell for. You know, the market cap on that one out of 5 with a really nice patch and a really nice auto. I love it. Can I throw one out there now for football? If you can, you know, if you have the ability to do it. Sure. So quarterbacks is where everybody puts their money. Obviously, everybody likes the young stuff, young quarterbacks. Everyone wants to invest in Justin Herbert. This is not a card that you want to
spend 5 minutes. You want to spend 5 minutes talking about Herbert, man? Like, talk about.
2 minutes because my play is not Herbert. Yeah, but you know what's funny about it is every one of the games towards the end seems like it could be lost. Right? Every one of those games, he's not putting people away. You know what I mean? And I get it. It's football. You just got to win. Just win, baby. You know, I'm a Raider fan.
How is he supposed to put people away? He's not a defender.
Well, that's not by scoring more, by scoring all the time. I know. Look, that game was ridiculous. They had over 1,000 yards offense today, but they let the other team hang around. And in reality, if the Browns were slightly better when they got the ball back up by 1 and 3 minutes left, the Browns wouldn't have got a 3 and out, and the team would have in the past. What I'll give Herbert credit for is this: in the past, that Charger team was good, but they found a way to lose. When they left it to their kicker, the kicker would miss a field goal. Phillip Rivers would bring him down the field, and they'd miss a field goal for a game winner. You know, at least these guys are finding a way to win, which is a huge upgrade. And I don't want to take anything away from Herbert. It's just I have a feeling when you play against a better team, and it comes down to that last minute, you give the ball back to them, the other team is up, and they have to run the clock out with 3 minutes left. A better team than Baker Mayfield, a better team than the Browns, and a better quarterback Baker Mayfield is gonna win that game from you. And that's not his fault. It's not Herbert's fault. The kicker missed an extra point. But it shouldn't be that close. All these games, they're just close games. It's just like Detroit. You know, they find a way to lose the game. But for now,
so Herbert so let me pick. Herbert should put teams away and defend better.
Yeah, when you're playing a team like that today's back and forth
44, 48 points, 45 points.
He scored it all himself. Well, you're going to ask me whether or not he plays defense. I'll ask you whether he scores them all himself. I mean, there were definitely some rushing touchdowns in there. He had a rushing touchdown himself, actually. No, dude, listen, the offense is great. Obviously, that defense is going to leave some stuff to be desired. But, you know, we've had many quarterbacks that score a lot of points and don't win Super Bowls. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with him. He's obviously better than I gave him credit for. But even with that being said, if you are a card person and you're putting money into his cards at the prices they are now, I would be nervous for you, right? I mean, he's done everything you can ask him to do for right now, week 5. But the prices, like, he better be Brady. And he may turn into Brady, but he better be Brady for what people are asking for and what people are paying for those cards right now. And by comparison, it's a great lead-in. You ready? So if Justin Herbert retires, right? If Justin Herbert retires and he has Number 5 all-time in passer rating, second best touchdown to interception ratio in NFL history at 4.63, the league's lowest career interception percentage at 1.4%, and the highest single-season passer rating record of 122.5, and considered by many to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. If he leaves that, right, maybe third all-time regular season career passer rating list, you think he'd be happy, right? If he has Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, 2-time NFL MVP, 9 Pro Bowls, 3 first-team All-Pros, member of an All-Decade team, you think Herbert would sign up for that right now? Because what I just gave you was Aaron Rodgers' resume.
Is that really Aaron Rodgers' resume? That's
Yep,
impressive.
I just gave you Aaron Rodgers' resume. So the card I'm going to tell you to look at now is
who
the
has
05.
a better mullet? Who has a better mullet?
Listen, Rodgers is a crazy bum, and his cards have not recovered yet from week 1 in fractional. The card I'm going to give you, the 05 playoff contenders rookie, which is a PSA 8. It's the one that's kind of cool preview ticket auto green. This one here, it drafted a little bit the rise of the Brady contenders auto. But this one, it's got an even better story to it because there are only 15 of them. It's numbered, and it's numbered to 15. So the rookie ticket autograph, because of the Brady card, considered to be one of the, if not the modern football collectible investment pieces for folks, right? So if you look at this one, it's similar. It doesn't look exactly like the Brady one. The ticket stuff is on the side. It says preview ticket. It's got the autograph on it. It's got the backers, the whole deal, out of 15. I think it's numbered 8. It's in a PSA slab, numbered PSA. It's PSA graded 8. But here's the fun part. You ready? The market cap on it. It's cheaper than like Herbert cards out of 300. The total market cap on this is $27,650 for a Aaron Rodgers playoff contenders 2005 preview ticket auto green numbered out of 15. And while it's up from its IPO, as you would expect it to be, because these cards have taken off in the amount of time, it's up like 40% from what it IPO'd at. It's still down and has not recovered from the beginning of the season. 1 month and 1 week down. So it's down in the last week from $9 to $7. It's down 28.6% week over week. It's one of the bigger drops we saw week over week. And, maybe that's because people saw Rodgers in the beginning of the season and said, all right, you know what? There are a lot of people not named Aaron Rodgers in the MVP discussion right now. That's the card exactly right there. There's a lot of people are talking about Kyler Murray. People are talking about, Josh Allen. But last year at this point in the season, people were saying that Russell Wilson was going to win the MVP, and Rodgers kind of, moved past him. I'm not saying Rodgers is going to win the MVP. And with this particular investment that I'm talking about here, it's not even one that Rodgers has to win the MVP because he's already won it twice, which doesn't happen a lot in the NFL. And instead, what you're looking at here is you're looking at a playoff contenders rookie ticket autograph that's not costing you millions of dollars. It's not a 7-figure one like Brady. And no, Rodgers is not Brady, right? But he's not far behind. He's in that Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers next level.
That's exactly what it says right here. That's exactly what it says here. Considered super undervalued compared to Brees and Manning. So
yeah. So but we talk about potential buyouts. This one, to me, doing the research, especially down this week, moving it down for a current market cap of $27,650. If you're a Rodgers person or you're a football person, how many opportunities are you going to get the big card, right? The contenders ticket auto, the one that people have for Brady of Rodgers. There's only 15 of them. It's numbered to 15, right? Opportunities like that, to buy this card don't come up that often. And, if Rodgers, he had another great game today. If Rodgers continues to put, big games together, goes to the playoffs, continues to stack those numbers and moves into that second, third, fourth best of all time sort of conversation, $27,650 for out of 15 rookie ticket auto seems like it could be potential for a buyout. It's just one of those things that I think about when looking at these cards. It also, even if it's not a buyout, being down almost 30% week over week, he played well. I mean, since week 1, they've done nothing but win. So there's no reason why over the last month this thing should be down 30%. Over the last week, it should be down 30%. So just one that caught my eye.
Shoot. All right, popcorn. Let's go. I'm going to talk about – this is my final one. I'm going to talk about Cage's. When I first met Cage, this was like Cage's like go-to card. This is the guy he always wanted. And you have – I want to see what you think about this. So this is the Josh Gibson, Satchel Paige.
Satchel Paige.
Cut signature. So check this out, Cage. So look at this. Well, cut
nice.
signature action. One. Let's close this. And I think we have a 1 of 1 here too. Let me see. Yep, we have a 1 of 1. Satchel. Is that a Satchel Paige?
A little sideways. I have to do one of these.
What do you think of this?
Phone moves when I do it.
So it's I mean, the story of Satchel Paige is just insane. He played in the Negro League for a very long time, and then I think he got caught up to professional baseball when he was like 58 years old. Cage.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, 112. Even when he was 112 years old.
I said 58. Just the history. It's kind of the same thing what you said about Kareem, though.
No, he played for 20 years before having a shot to come into the majors, 100%. So this was somebody who obviously not only was outside their prime, he probably should have retired, but he still played from 48 to 53 in the majors. And the first African American pitcher to play in the American League, 7th player to play in Major League Baseball. First player played in the Negro Leagues to pitch in the World Series. First electee to the Negro League committee to be inducted to the Baseball Hall of Fame. I mean, just like so many great things about him. Plus, people said he was one of the best, if not the best, to pitch. And you didn't see his best stuff.
Yep.
Right? Because he was already 25 years into it when he got into the majors. So
it's the same thing as the Kareem thing, right? Like, does it matter to people my age? I do believe that it only takes one buyer when it comes to something kind of iconic like this.
Yep.
I think this is really cool. I think this, if you guys have a chance, read up on the history. So Cage put me onto Josh Gibson, Satchel Paige. I was reading about this. And I think it's a cool thing to learn and read about. And if this is something that you want to invest in, cool, take a look. This one, IPOs. October 14th. So take a look at this.
So what's cool about this, the Josh Gibson one, is there are so few signatures of him out there that I think this is one of only 2 signatures of his that have made it onto a card, like encapsulated in a card. I think this is one of 2 baseball cards with his signature on it, which is pretty crazy. And we saw a comp for a baseball that Josh Gibson signed, right? A single signed Gibson baseball sold in August of this year for $198,000. So they're pretty rare autographs. So, it's definitely an interesting piece. It's a cool basket, right? Because these are 2 iconic players. So it's interesting to put them together like that. You ready for my last one?
Last one, wrap it up.
Yeah, I have my last one is one that kind of ran based on can I call it influence/influencers? Influencers influence. I mean, it's kind of what they do, right? I love this card. It's one that I may want to buy one myself if it became available for me to own. Remember, I don't own any of these cards, folks, and I don't own any of the fractional on these. If it was a card that I own individually, I'll let you know. But I don't own any collectible or any fractional shares out there. But this was a fun one. At one point in time, a few months back, there were a couple of tweets out there talking about, hey, buy these combined autos. So what I'm talking about now is the Sign of the Times 0506 Michael Jordan, LeBron James combined auto from 0506 in a BGS 10 slab with 10 auto. So a 10-10, which is pretty nice. Can't get much better than a 10. You can't get much better than a 10. So this is cool. But if you look at the charts, this is what kind of stuck out to me. There was nothing happening this week that I saw for LeBron and Michael Jordan.
What an interesting chart.
So, but what's funny about it, if you pull the 1 week up, somebody was looking for liquidity and nobody put in on this yet. So this is one where I don't want to race, Tuesday, we should also announce, Ezra just kind of did a video on this, right? That it's full market trading now starting Tuesday, right? It's like 9:30 to 4. Big board trading. So, the secondary market is full. The same. It's Wall Street hours. So beautiful card, right? Sign of the Times. It's got.
I don't know how often you see a card like this. That's
10-10.
An dual auto 10-10. You don't see this very often at all.
So I happen to love this particular card just because whether you get Whether you get you're a Jordan guy or a LeBron guy, you got them both. It's a pristine 10 from BGS. It's the only of its variation to receive the grade. It's the highest graded one on record. Serial number to 50. Here's a fun thing that I like. What's Michael Jordan's number?
45.
23. What's LeBron's number?
You're right.
23.
23.
So what's 23 plus 23?
45.
46. This is card number 46 out of 50. It's a stretch, guys. It's not either of their jersey numbers, but it's both of their jersey numbers combined, which is pretty cool. Obviously we all know that LeBron rookie patch autos, sell for millions of dollars. Here's why I like this one. I've brought to you a couple ones where it looks like somebody who owned the card exited for liquidity. Maybe they were looking to buy a Josh Allen. Maybe they're looking to do something else. And you see kind of like the boom, it shoots down, and then immediately somebody buys it back, right? Can you do me a favor and pull this back up and just hit the 1 week chart on this? I'm not going to buy this, but I hope somebody out there listening does. So this started this past week at $8.70. And at some point during the week, it fell to $6.15. Okay, down 41.5% since last week, right? So obviously, if you look at this chart, you see that it's here, it's there, it's here, it's there. You saw it kind of climb up when influencers out there started talking about how you should chase the dual autos of the GOATs. There were a couple of tweets about it and stuff, and all of a sudden it rose. This thing literally just fell off a cliff, and nobody bought it back up. I don't think it stays at this $6.15 because it is down 38.5% from IPO. This thing IPO'd with a market cap of 165,000. It's down to 101,475 as it currently sits. Goes much lower, and you're talking about 5 figures for a card that there's the only one in pristine 10, and it's got the GOATs on it. So it was just a chart that really stuck out to me as one where I think, something happened. No reason for it to be down when it was down.
I'm not a big LeBron guy, and I realized that when I owned a Topps Chrome, I was like, I didn't feel good about it because I didn't love the player. That said, that card is cool.
Sign of the times.
Very cool.
A cool little sign of the times, right? I mean, you can't get much better than those two guys. Those were my 3, for the day. A couple things to notice also, just kind of, out there. Performance matters. If you are a Yankee fan, you are disappointed with the performance of those guys. But one of the guys who really let a lot of Yankee fans down, a lot of investors down, is Gleyber Torres. If you listen to the show, you've heard me talk about him a couple of times, as in right there, a notch below Acuna and Soto and Tatis and those guys. And his cards were a notch below that. And before the COVID season, he actually had a really good year. 30-something home runs, 100 RBIs. He looked like he was going to be one of the next great Yankees, playing shortstop, playing second base, playing middle infield, which is always a great thing. But he really, they tinkered with his batting stance a little bit this year, and he really does not look right. He's still really young. I think he's like 24 years old. So if you're a believer in him, just one to watch. I wouldn't tell you to jump on it, but clearly when we say performance matters, it matters. The Gleyber offering here on Collectable was trading at $7.99 per share entering the week and closed the week at $4.75. You want to talk about falling off a cliff. The thing almost lost 50% of its value. It went from basically $8 to $4 and change. That's a big drop. That's people running from Gleyber Torres and getting out and getting liquidity where they can. I don't expect it to bounce back up, anytime soon because he's not going to be playing for a while. Might be one to keep an eye on if it goes any lower, if you're a believer in him, because he is young and he is on the Yankees and not going anywhere for a while. And if he happens to turn it around next season, that's a card that could turn right around. It was already down at $7.99. But that was another one that really stuck out at me, just kind of overarching, looking at the data from last week. That and some of the vintage baseball cards also took a hit last week as well, in addition to memorabilia we talked about, like Ernie Banks and Clemente. Cards, they each one of them fell about 20%. The offerings of Banks and Clemente on Collectable. So interesting stuff. That's not performance based, obviously. So.
Last thing, and we'll get into it just really quickly. So IPO this week, you have this Mahomes.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think it's actually it's a Prince of Bronze Stars is what this is called. Is that a retail product, Cage?
Honestly, I don't know. I can't keep up with all the stuff. That looks like a disco. I mean,
it looks like a disco, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, you have bronze stars, but the point is, talk about performance-based. Huge game this week, right? Because what are they, 2-2? Danger falling 2-3. They haven't looked good. This is all after Mahomes has been basically steamed up for the last year and a half. Curious to see how this IPO does of this basket right here of the bronze stars of his rookie card. It's listed at 110K. So just something to keep an eye on as this thing IPOs this week.
Yep. I mean, it could be. I mean, it could be tough sledding if his team is 2-3, or if his team is, if he loses
2-3 with no like kind of like his cards were already up so much, so that also plays into it. Like obviously Mahomes is going to be fine long term, but short term it might have some volatility, and you don't want to necessarily IPO or just something to look at. That's another show. Paige, you're amazing, bringing plays time and time and time again. Luca Nation will be back tomorrow.